Okay, so this demonstration will cover chapter 2. We're gonna go over some switch or basic switch configuration and also creating VLAN. And we're gonna add the ports to the VLANs itself. Okay, so we're gonna also look into pruning and some troubleshooting techniques. Okay, so first off, we're starting off with a blank packet tracer here. We'll select a PC. We'll rename this PC later on. And also grab a switch. So we're gonna select a 2960 switch. Okay, so first off, we'll configure the switch here. Start. Okay, so it's still booting up. Let's give it a few seconds here to boot up. Okay, so we're get into the CLI mode. So type in enable to go to the privilege exec mode. We'll configure this first with a hostname. So configure terminal or config t or conf t, whatever you like. We'll start with the hostname. We'll give it a name of S1. Right. So next command that we'll have is service password encryption. So as you may recall from Cisco 1. Okay, this will actually give you all the or convert all your plain text to a ciphertext or a protected password. Okay, so let's give it a password, enable secret. So this command compared to enable password command will give you an encrypted version of the password that you're typing in. Right? Then we'll give it a banner. Banner will give you something like a description. So banner MOTD. Then followed by a delimiter. We are using a delimiter of number sign here. Put it unauthorized. So give this something meaningful. Prohibited. Okay, then end with the delimiter again. Okay. Next command that we'll have is we'll secure the console. So this is the console, or if you remember the blue cable that you used to plug in the physical or in the classroom environment, right? So it's gonna be line console 0. Since we just have one console line, so it's gonna be line 0. So give it a password. So we'll give a password of Cisco. So every time a console is plugged into your Cisco switch, it will automatically prompt you with this password. So that's additional security. You don't want to have anyone connect the console cable and basically connect to your switch right away. Okay, so next we'll give the logging synchronous command. So the logging synchronous command, you can type synchronous. There we go. Logging synchronous command. This will remove the prompts or the status update when you're actually selecting or running your different commands. So you'll be able to see that this will not prompt you with different exclamation marks or like waiting, like ellipses and etc. Okay, we'll also include the no IP domain lookup. So the no IP domain lookup will prohibit you from getting error messages or waiting it out when translating the different commands that are not available on your switch, and we'll eventually look into the DNS server. So let's exit this out. And the no IP domain lookup, no IP domain dash lookup. So do not forget the dash between these two words. Okay, so next thing we have protected your console. Let's also create a console, what do you call this, virtual terminal connection, right? So your telnet and SSH. So we're gonna be setting up a telnet for this one. It's unsecured if you remember compared to SSH. So we'll set up the telnet for now, then eventually I'll leave the setup for the SSH for you guys. Okay, so let's set up the VTY 015. So we're using 015 to cover all of the virtual terminal lines. We'll give it the same password. So password Cisco. And let's enable the telnet on this. So command will be transport input telnet. So we're enabling the telnet for your virtual terminal line. Okay, so next up, let's give an IP address to your switch, right? So by default, all the configuration will be on your VLAN 1. So let's exit this out. Let's go back to the global configuration mode. So let's go to the interface VLAN space 1 and give this an IP address. IP address 192.168.1.2, subnet mask 255.255.255.0, and do not forget the no shutdown command, or oops, my bad. So no shut command. Alright, so while we have that running, we might want to change the label of this as well to replicate what we just have. So S1, this is 192.168.1.2. Okay. On the PC here, this is the next configuration that we'll be changing. So let's give this PCA, and the IP address that we'll be assigning here is 192.168.99.10. Yeah, so let's double click on the PC, select your IP config, and give it the same IP address that we just applied on the label. Okay, so your subnet mask here is 255.255.255.0 since we're using a prefix of /24. Let's give it a gateway IP address. It's going to be 192.168.99.1. So we would typically assign the first usable address as your gateway. Okay, so we have this configured already, let's plug in an Ethernet cable. So on the PC side, we'll select the fast Ethernet 0. And on the switch, we'll connect the we'll connect it to fast Ethernet 06. Okay, so next up, let's try to ping the switch from your PC. So let's ping the IP address and move this up. It's 192.168.1.2. So these are giving us a request timeout. So if you would compare the IP address that we set up here, your PC belongs to the third octet is 99, and your switch here have a third octet of value of 1. So this means they belong to different network. Okay, so let's try to fix this. To fix this, we'll try to move the S1 to 99 instead. So keep in mind that VLAN 1 is the default VLAN when you plug in a device or a computer, a phone to your switch, right? So it's going to be always VLAN number 1. Okay, so let's make a little bit of change here. Instead of going directly to your switch to configure the switch, we'll connect a console cable. So this will replicate what you guys have been doing inside our lab. Typically, for Cisco 2, you are it's going to be P305. Right, so we'll connect RS232 on the PC side, and on the switch, we'll connect this to the console. So you can see, I don't think you'll be able to see the console. It's going to be the top of the list that you have on your selections right there. Right, so this is the connection that we have. We'll try to replicate what we're doing in a lab. So we'll select your PC, and instead of the command prompt, we're going to go to the terminal window. Okay, so the terminal window, this is where you would use your Terra term. So the Terra term will be the simulator that will connect you to your switch. So click OK on this, and basically that will give us the same configuration or command prompt coming off from your Cisco switch. Alright, so where we left off is we can ping the from PC to the switch. So let's change the configuration on your switch. So instead of having it for VLAN 1, we'll move it to VLAN 99. So this is where we will be creating the VLAN other than VLAN 1. Okay, so let's exit this out. Let's go to interface VLAN 1. So we'll negate the IP address. So to remove the IP address that we have set up there, it's going to be no IP address. Then let's move to interface VLAN 99, and we'll give this an IP address. So the IP address that we'll be assigning here is 192.168.99.2 instead. So that will give us the same IP address range or subnet coming off from PC1. Yeah, let's give it a subnet mask of 255.255.255.0, and again, no shutdown. We'll make sure I'm typing this correctly now. Okay, so no shut. Alright, then let's try to ping from your PCA again. So we can close this terminal, open the command prompt, and try to ping 192.168.99.2. Okay, so it's still giving us a request timeout. So I'll give you guys a minute here to think why it's not working while I'm changing the label on our switch here. So as you can see, they belong to 99 now, right? The third octet are the same. So why it's not working? Okay, so the reason for this is you need to, when you created a VLAN 99, you also need to move a specific port that is connected to, or you wanted to assign to this specific VLAN that we just have created. In that case, the F06, which actually on a port on your switch, has to be directly connected or move into the VLAN 99 that we just created. Okay, so this will be, excuse me, let's go to the interface. Let's go back to the terminal. Okay, so let's type end here, and will be equivalent to 2 exits. Type conf-t for configure terminal. Then we'll go to the interface itself. So we're working with interface FA06. Okay, so we'll give it switch port mode. So this is the first the first mode that you guys have learned from this chapter. It's the access mode. The second one right here is we need to move it to that specific VLAN. So switch port, I can type today, VLAN 99. Right, as you can see here, the status of that VLAN 1 has changed to down because it's not being used currently, and the LED light on your switch actually changed to amber or orange, and the VLAN 99 changed to up since we have created that and also assigned the F06 to that specific port. Yeah, so let's give it a minute here to change to green. While waiting for that, we'll prepare our command prompt here and be ready to ping again. Yeah, so let's ping 192.168.99.2, which is the IP address of our switch. So we're coming off from the PC here. Yeah, so the first reply is timeout, and the remaining are basically a successful reply, meaning that you can be able to ping PCA to the switch now. So let's give it a try again, and it's giving us the correct or all successful replies for this. Okay, so I need to cut this video, then continue on a separate video here. So for this, we have covered on how to create your VLAN 99, or sorry, creating the IP address, basic configuration as well, and you have included the assigning of the ports to a specific VLAN, which is VLAN 99. VLAN 99 is also known as the management port. We always move VLAN 1 to a different number, since by default, all the Cisco switch, when you configure or connect a device, it automatically connects you to VLAN 1, which is a security problem, right? You have that vulnerability if you have a poorly managed switch.